There's a quote that sticks with me a lot about how the point of science fiction is like good science fiction doesn't anticipate the car, it anticipates the traffic jam. And I think like if you're doing this sort of learning how to be aware of like what are the second and third order effects of what you were building when you're designing something new is super important.
So hi everyone, I am Jeremy Sinclair. I am an enterprise.NET developer and I am a Windows Insider MVP.
Hey everyone, my name is Lazer-Walker. I work as a senior cloud advocate focused on games and spatial computing at Microsoft.
What first got you interested in the world of development and how did you get started?
I don't know. I've been into computers and wanting to do stuff with them and making games since I was really young. I got started with like GeoCities style web development back when I was probably 7 or 8. I don't know exactly how old I was. I've always been really into games specifically, and I quickly moved from that into using like click and play and all of these like no code game dev tools that existed 20 years ago. So there's just been something about always wanting to make games that has always been part of my life.
And I was about fourth grade, going back to 1997, and there was a few websites countered that had cool, at the time, JavaScript input boxes and dialog boxes. And I thought they were really cool to interact with, and I just thought, I want to learn how to do that myself. A lot of the cool websites that I encountered, I just thought, okay, this is really nice that they have this, but I want my own. And so from there, I just started learning like VB script, classic ASP. I just went from there. What do you love about being a game developer?
I think there are a couple things. Like, I love the act of making games itself and the sort of creative act. There's a quote, I think it's Frank Lance, who talks about how making games is like composing operas by building bridges. And I love that as this creative field that brings together engineering and design and art in all these disparate fields, and being able to activate all those parts of your brain at once is super important. But even more than that, I love the people. Like, I specifically make independent games and weird, experimental, largely non-commercializable stuff. And the people who make that stuff too is just such a loving and friendly and wholesome group of people that like, it's the love of games that brought me in, and it's the people that have kept me here instead of rage quitting this industry.
Oh, that's amazing, because I think about how much games have had an influence on me growing up, because that's one of the things that got me into computers. It's video games, and I'm talking going back to the days of DOS.
What do you love about being a .NET developer?
So what I love about being a .NET developer is that I feel like I'm in my kind of native element. So with .NET, I can use so many different languages like C#, PowerShell. Everything in the end still gives me the same binary. I started out with PowerShell as my entry into .NET. I can build an app, okay, that can run on Windows, Mac, iOS, Android. The same exact core code, change a little bit of the UI, and I can make it, go everywhere, even on the Xbox. That's the most amazing thing. I don't have to change.
Yeah, you got this little like single toolbox that just expands everywhere. That is so cool.
Yeah, and that's like that's what keeps me pumped, because all of these new features that are coming, I just latch onto it and I get excited. What's your favorite part of working in advocacy?
I love that my job is to help people. And so there's a part of my job that is going back to product teams and giving them feedback and sort of advocacy as like looking internally. But the stuff that gets me really excited is looking externally and going to indie game devs and saying, how can I help you do what you're already doing better? I think a really good example of this is, for a while, I was doing a lot of work with people who use Twine. Like, it's a free tool you download. You don't need to know how to program. You can just make a story and share it with the world as a website. And I did a lot of work with how can we integrate Azure PlayFab to give people analytics. So you still don't have to learn any code to learn how to integrate this, and for free, you're suddenly getting data about how many people are using or are playing your game. Are they getting all the way to the end? Where are they falling off? What choices are they making? And giving them more tools to do that better. And the fact that I can get paid to do that is incredible.
Oh, that is awesome. That is really awesome.
So what's your favorite part of being a Windows Insider MVP?
So my favorite part about being a Windows Insider MVP, I get to go to the Windows Insider, the leadership, and give them my opinion. So I can, directly affect how this program evolves. And by my own experience, I can reach out to others in the Windows Insider community, help them out, ask for their feedback, and kind of pass that along. So that's, it feels awesome just being seen as an MVP. What advice do you have for people who want to move into the game industry for, students and developers in other areas?
I would say make games. Like even if your job is like your goal is ultimately to get a job in AAA and do something hyper focused, there is nothing more valuable than just shipping games. They can be little small tiny games using like Twine or Bitsy or any of these other small tools to make it easy to make games without code. But like the act of making games and finishing games and releasing games into the world is both the most valuable thing for you as someone learning and improving. It is also, I think, like if your goal is to get a job, employers are going to care about that, and they're going to be way more into here is a finished game that I have made than like here is a sample of something that I could do. And so just whether that is making them on your own or finding game jams or other ways to participate with other people, like finding that community can also be a big part of it. Getting inspired by a peer group and growing with them and making more stuff and shipping stuff. Whatever your goal as a game dev is, that is probably going to be how you're going to get there most quickly. Can you tell us about one of your favorite conference memories? I know this feels like a distant memory now.
Oh, one of my favorite conference memories. This has to be Build 2019. At Build 2019, I was a developer MC. Our job was to basically live the conference through others. But I also got to interview a few people from Windows kernel team. And this was like fantastic for me because I was interviewing about Windows on ARM. Everyone knows I'm probably one of the biggest, give me Windows on ARM stuff ever. So it was just really awesome just to be there with the folks who made the devices and who worked on building the kernels. Showing how Windows and ARM worked. Like, I was just in heaven.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, not to mention I got a selfie with Scott Hanselman. The Scott Hanselman.
Very important.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm very jealous.
Who is one person on social media that everyone should follow?
If I had to pick one person, like right now, I'd probably say this guy named Salavier Nelson Jr. He's at Rit Nelson, WRIT. He is an indie game developer. He runs a studio, but he's working on a million projects at once. I do not know how he sleeps, but his Twitter is like partly that and following this like really inspiring, wonderful game developer. He also does a lot of really bad puns and bad jokes. So it's this really good contrast of let's talk about game dev and I don't know what you're saying, but I'm here for it.
I'd say one of my heroes, David Fowler, top down. Everyone should follow him. So he's one of the leads on ASP.NET Core. Every time I see a tweet from him and a link to a GitHub, I just instantly get entranced by all of the information, the explanation. My eyes just get, just gigantic, just thinking about, oh, I want to learn more. Maybe I need to be doing more with my development. So it's inspiring. What keeps you going as a developer advocate?
Yeah, that's a good one. I feel like when I get in that funk, like it is usually around worrying, like, how do I know that what I'm doing is actually helping people and I'm not just like sitting here and working on something that doesn't matter? Going out and talking to people usually helps that, and realizing like, look, there are real human beings out there who are really excited to learn, and like the stuff I am making directly helps them. When I do a Twitch stream, like working on a game live on stream, like I am not just projecting out into a void. Every single person on that like viewer list is a real person who is watching and hopefully learning and asking questions. And that is usually what sort of gets me going again and gets me excited to get back into it. Very low view numbers, and that's demoralizing of like, why am I doing this? And then over time you slowly build up and all of a sudden, like, you wake up one day and you're like, whoa, I am actually really good at this, and this is a lot of fun, and people care. And, like, that is a really satisfying progression. Yeah, thanks so much for chatting me. This was incredible. I had so much fun.
Yeah, thank you so much to him. Like, it was so great to meet you, and this was such a wonderful conversation. And actually, I totally wouldn't mind if we talked again.
Yeah, I would love that. Let us stay in touch.